So take a look at this. Some recent polls out of Texas have shown a tight race there. I believe Nick laughed at me when I told this story. He did. A major election forecaster has added that state to its toss-ups category. Real Clear Politics has now reclassified Texas and its 38 electoral votes as a toss-up. It comes as the latest CBS YouGov poll gives Donald Trump a 3-point edge in the state of Texas, 46, to Hillary Clinton's 43% in a four-way race. Trump now has a 4.8-point average lead in Texas, a state Mitt Romney won by 16 points in 2012. Meanwhile, the new CBS YouGov poll in Florida shows Clinton 46% to Trump's 43%. A look at the partisan breakdown shows Trump's struggle. Among Florida's likely voters, Clinton is garnering 91% of Democrat support, while Trump is taking 82% of Republicans, a partisan gap he is seeing around the country. The Associated Press finds that if Clinton gets victories in the states where she is currently leading comfortably, that alone would give her 272 electoral votes, more than necessary to win. Even Trump's campaign manager acknowledged her candidate has ground to make up.
Where do you see this race right now? Do you acknowledge that you're behind?
We are behind. She has some advantages, like $66 million in ad buys just in the month of September, thereby doubling her ad buys from August. Most of those ads are negative against Donald Trump, classic politics of personal destruction, cesspool kind of ads. And she has tremendous advantages. She has a former president, happens to be her husband, campaigning for her, the current president and first lady, vice president, all much more popular than she can hope to be. But she's seen as the incumbent. So our advantage going in, where we're behind 1, 3, 4 points in some of these swing states that Mitt Romney lost to President Obama, Chuck, our advantage is that Donald Trump is just going to continue to take the case directly to the people.
And Lawrence O'Donnell.
That is so great. She's complaining about that overwhelming Clinton ad buy against the giant billionaire who was going to be able to buy all the TV ad time in America. You know, Donald Trump first threatened to sue me 5 years ago when I said he's not as rich as he says he is. And here he is begging for money every day from his followers in emails, people who he promised. The great thing about me is I can pay for this campaign myself. The great original Trump lie of this campaign about how it was going to work. And here he is now complaining, oh, they've got so much money. It's just, they've got so much money. Yeah. And by the way, one of the main reasons I thought he wasn't going to run for president is everybody knows it costs $1 billion to run for president. That's what it costs for the Democrat or the Republican to run for president. And I knew that guy didn't have that kind of money. And here we are. And now we come down to the finish line, and the Trump campaign complaint is, we don't have the money to compete with somebody like Hillary Clinton and the Democratic Party.
He's not the little guy.
It couldn't be more perfect.
Well, the other interesting point for the rebuilding of the Republican Party is that the vaunted Republican fundraising machine has not been able to keep up. So that's a little bit of a mandate on the Republican National Committee.
But that's because he said, I don't need your money. So he said for months and months, I don't need anybody's money. Then go out and try to raise money for the guy who said that.
Yeah, but interestingly, his small dollar donations, which is more of a populist message, is doing much better than Hillary Clinton's. So those are voters as opposed to
Michael Steele, jump in.
Yeah, and I was going to say, it wasn't a question of needing the money. It's just the donors didn't want to give him the money. I mean, that was one of the big things that happened early on in this race, was that the major donors of the party, whether they were aligned with a super PAC or not, decided they were not going to play financially, which put a lot of downward pressure on the RNC to figure out other ways to get that money into their coffer so that they could help those down ballot races across the country.
Mike,
let's cut to the chase instead of the Texas polls and stuff like that, and let's go around. Everybody here, Sam, Michael, and Washington.
We're gonna play a game.
What's the over/under on how close Hillary Clinton gets to 400 electoral votes?
Well, Bill Clinton got 370 with 43% of the vote in 1992 in that three-way race. Look, the thing I'm watching election night is Georgia, because the polls close at 7 p.m. And let's see what that is. If she wins Georgia, then you know this is just out of control. But if she's within 5 points in Georgia, that tells you a lot about what could happen in every other state.
I think
Elise?
there's an 80% chance she breaks 400.
Wow.
I think at the time, at the way he's going right now,
If things
it's
continue
looking
as they
bad.
are.
Arizona.
I agree.
I was just out in Arizona last week, and it is a way tighter race than it should be. And the organization has been incredible in terms of new voters by some of these large Hispanic organizations, and they're really turning out the vote. And
New name, poor Ben Ginsburg. Poor Ben.
Oh, poor Ben. Indiana's the other bellwether there.